Traffic Operations. I'm here today to provide some updates for our neighborhood traffic calming program that we work on at the city. Okay, a little bit, just like the last presentation, we like to give you a little background and then get into what we're doing today. So this program was established in 2019, and the purpose of this program was for evaluation, prioritization, and installation of traffic calming devices. We focus on local roads and collector roads for this program. Since it started, we have 228 applications that come in, and we have an average of a little over 30 per year. Still counting for 2026, so I don't have that information. I do like to start off with that, where you can look this up and get additional information. So we have a website where we have our application. We have an email address that you can email with questions or submitting an application, and also a phone number. So you can always talk to someone on our team. If you have questions, if someone has already had an application submitted, or you want to submit one and how to submit one, you can definitely get a hold of us in regular business hours. Thank you. So why did we set up this program? What is the purpose of this program? So the first part of this is to evaluate speeding concerns on local and collector roads. We don't look at arterials for these type of traffic calming measures because a lot of these don't work on higher speed roadways. Also, those roads are designed to move traffic to bigger roads. So it's also for where emergency vehicles need to have faster access, like fire trucks and APD. A couple requirements that we do have is that the residents have to submit the application. So they have to get an application. They also need to find 3 local other residents to participate in the application, sign it. You can have more people participate with it, but you need to tell us where the issue is and who also wants to participate in the application. Once it's submitted, we have to go through a data collection. This can take between 4 to 6 weeks, and with that we collect 72 hours of data. We're looking for traffic volumes and speeds. Once we get that information, we look at what our go, no-go is to go to the next steps of like what type of traffic calming measures we want. Those go, no-go steps are that road needs to have at least 500 vehicles per day, and the average speed throughout the day needs to be speeding 7 miles over the posted speed limit. So those are your 2 go, no-go markers that we like to do. After that, we take a look at the traffic calming toolbox, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and then prioritization on if and when installation occurs. So what kind of traffic calming measures do we look at? I think one of the most common and popular and successful ones is going to be those speed cushions. That really helps slow down traffic. We evaluate like how many per segment that we're going to put on it. That is one of our more popular ones that works really well. We also have flashing radar speed limit signs so that you can see, you know, those people who are going over the speed limit, they can see what speed they're going and hopefully lower their speed back to the posted speed limit. Some other ones that we do have are what are chicanes. We don't use those very often, but it's sort of creating a road where we're doing some zigzags. It's a little harder to implement, but it does work when this situation works. Or roundabouts is another one that we really, when we have the right situation, we do install those. That helps instead of doing a traffic signal. And when it warrants, that is another good location to slow down traffic speeds. And then we have a couple others there, such as like road diets. Instead of having, you know, maybe 4 lanes, we could look at doing a 3-lane section, narrower lanes so that you feel a little squeezed in, so that maybe you don't want to go faster than the posted speed limit, but you're going to speed limit. So instead of 12 feet lanes, maybe 11 or 10-foot lanes. Oh, and the signs are all popping up. I didn't know I did that. One of the new things, so going down with some of that background, what are the things that we've been doing this year? We actually created online on that website our new traffic calming toolbox. And what we did there is all those items I just mentioned, we have information on each one of them, and we talk about like how much one costs, the purpose of each device, the design, target design speed. So sometimes certain ones work better for different speeds. So, you know, this is why we also don't look at roads at like 40 40 miles an hour with speed cushions, because that's not a very safe way of lowering speeds down. We really want people consistently with those speed limit. And then examples where those devices can be found. Let me try it here. Oh, here we go. Now, so for Ward 3, I got up here where we have done and going to do some of our traffic calming devices. So you can see here that we have some stops, LED stop signs, so making more prominent stop signs so that people can see the stop signs better, where some of the speed cushions are. We also have some of the speed limit feedback signs. And then, because I can't memorize these, I actually have a list of what we are doing this year in Ward 3 as well. So, yes, go ahead.
What about Peoria? I think that's the one that everybody complains about, right?
Correct, it is an arterial. So it does not meet the qualifications for the neighborhood traffic calming program. Usually with arterials, we, yes, are speeding, but there is not the same tools to slow down speeds.
Okay.
And that's because also it's a place where we're trying to bring traffic to get them to the bigger roads. Yes, they should be going this posted speed limit, they should. It usually, unfortunately, has to be more enforcement, because a lot of these tools that are federally studied and used to keep people at the speed limits don't work for arterials, freeways, and bigger roads.
So are you limited by what you can do for an arterial because of the federal law? Is that what you're saying?
Federal, I guess it's not federal law, it's a federal standard. So we do spend, I've been doing this for 20 years, but they've been studying this for over 40 years. We do a lot of studies to see what works where and how well it works. And what we have found, like when you have higher speeds, a lot of those tools don't work based on actually scientific evaluation. So one, on an arterial, you can't put like speed cushions. You cannot, the speed radar feedback signs, people don't look at them as much. So they're not going to be useful. So people won't see, they won't listen to them as much on higher speed roadways. You can't do speed cushions on a higher speed road because it's unsafe. Because you are trying to keep them at the flow of the posted speed limit. You're not trying to make them go beyond below the posted speed limit, because it's an arterial. So you are trying to get people through. You know, it's like our blood system, right?
Yeah.
Think about your artery. You don't really want you don't want a heart attack, right? Your artery gets clogged, that's a heart attack. An arterial is like one of those main routes to move traffic. And Peoria is something that we have taken a look at when it comes to traffic calming measures. There's not a lot of tools for those types of roads. Some things that we are looking at there is, at least, you know how we talk about roadway narrowing, our paint truck is about to start being able to be used. We need the right pavement temperature, we need the right weather, and we're just starting to get there. We had our snowstorm delayed us a little bit, but this is the time of year we go out and refresh striping. This one I'm actually going to have them put white stripes on the edges by the curb, just to make it feel a little tighter. This doesn't always have a very high success rate, but that is one of the tools we have, and I want to use it. If we can get just a couple people going a little slower in that area, that's a big win. We want them to stay at the posted speed limit.
Okay.
So that is one of the tools we have.
Yes, with Del Mar Park, especially in the summer, it's very heavily used. You know, we have the water park in there. What will it take to have pedestrian flashing lights to one of the entrances into the park from Oswego Street?
So that is where that neighborhood traffic calming program goes. So you can either, that one you can fill out that, or you enter it into Access, or afterwards I can get your information. But I would want to have you send it in, because that way we can see if it's been looked at. You know, I can look historically why it doesn't meet it. Sometimes it does depend on the location, the volume of the pedestrians, and also the existing infrastructure. So we do take a lot of looks. We also look at crash data. That one not as much for ped crossings. It's more of the demand. And meaning, again, federal
It's for
standards.
safety more than anything
Safety,
else.
right, but we also need to, safety also comes in the point of, we need to put it where the drivers also acknowledge it. You know how, like, let's say you've been to maybe a stop sign that everyone rolls through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might not have met federal warrant or federal recommended warrants. People don't feel the need that they have to stop, so they don't stop. We have to make sure that we have enough pedestrian volume there so people don't start to ignore that, and so then the one time a pedestrian comes, everyone's ignoring it. So we do have to meet the federal recommended
So we need to submit an application with several signatures
You
from
can,
our...
and I think I'd rather you do Access Aurora for that location. Do you know how to enter in a ticket for Access Aurora?
Yes.
Okay, put one in for that. That way we also have your contact information, so we ask you, when do you see it, what time of day? You know, we want
Well, I cross
information.
it every day.
Right, we do want all that information. You cross it every day, so it's like, is it, what
Yeah,
is it?
multiple
Is
times
it the
every day.
mornings, is it the afternoons? You know, we want to know that, so that we are making sure we're getting data at the right time.
And do I need more than one signature?
Not for that, if it's just,
Okay.
if it's a pedestrian crossing with the flashing markers, let's go through Access Aurora.
Okay.
Yep.
Would it help to get multiple signatures?
Not for that, because that's data driven. So that one's data driven. The reason we do the neighborhood traffic program with multiple signatures is, you know, some people, maybe not everyone in their neighborhood feels the same way. So it's definitely a good verification that it's a community thing. You don't really want to start putting in traffic controlling devices and all your neighbors are very against it. So you want to make sure you have, we get to know that you have collaboration. More signatures, of course, for a neighborhood traffic program is great. You know, the minimum is 3 because we want to make sure it's accessible. We don't want everyone to have to knock on all their neighbors' doors and feel uncomfortable. Hopefully you know the neighbors.
Well, we have a neighborhood group that'll be happy to
That's
sign that.
exactly a great community. I'm going to go with this hand up here, I think, first, and then.
I'll sign
go
it
back
too.
to you. Hand up.
Yeah, I just have a question. If, after, on the street that I'm on, we do have I call them bumps.
Speed cushions, yeah.
Yeah,
They became cushions when they got bigger. They used to be a bump, but now we do cushions. It's also, it protects fire trucks from getting damaged when they go all the way up.
it seems like, you think that it slows it down, but in some ways it doesn't. I guess there's not another option besides that to slow down traffic.
It's supposed to
Is there?
slow them down to the posted speed limit, not overly beyond the lower speed. So you can like slow down enough, but not, so like let's say the posted speed limit is 25 and you are going 35, which you're not supposed to be doing. The speed cushion, without damaging your car and launching it, you do have to slow down to about 20, maybe to 15, and then you go back up. If you're feeling like something's going on with it, we can always take a look if we have enough speed cushions, but usually they have enough, there's a special standard on how many per distance to be the efficiency.
Because I know that on the street that we are, it just, I don't know, it seems like,
Have you had an overlay recently? Have they redone your asphalt recently? No, okay. Is that
no,
something that can make them?
we just noticed that they just, it's so funny because you think when they first did it, it was, you can notice that they weren't happy because.
Well, if you share with me, I'll definitely have our
they were
neighborhood
slow,
travel.
and nowadays they're like,
Evaluate.
they go like this, they go in, they go like this. And you know, like they don't even slow down, they just go, they're speeding down there. I mean, they don't even
We'll
slow
take a
down.
look at it.
And
What
I'm
street?
like, what's the point of having these? And I mean, to me, they're not slowing down at all. There's no.
Let me take a look at it to make
Okay.
sure it's to our standard. It should be, but I will always reevaluate and look at it. What
Okay.
street?
Kenton Street, Kenton and, yeah, there you go, Kenton and 6th,
6? Okay.
and Kenton.
Yeah,
If
because
you
we
say
can do a
north
field
or south,
visit and
There, you
reevaluate.
know, there you go.
Say that again?
It's south of Canton from 6th to
Okay.
Canton.
The police always, the dispatcher goes, are you north or south Kenton? I'm like,
Okay, just wanted to check my list.
near Lansing, right near Lansing.
Okay, we'll definitely go back out there and we'll measure them to make sure they're to standard and nothing's happened to them. Because sometimes they do get damaged and they can become less at the height that they need to be. So we can have that evaluation occur and just make sure that nothing's happened to them to make them not do what they're supposed to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And,
And then 2 quick issues. Right here on Alameda between Chambers and Buckley, sometimes I feel like it's Indianapolis 500.
yes, that's also an arterial, so we have to look at APD to
So
do,
is there any way to put up some of these,
no, because it's an arterial.
so we just let it continue?
No, that's where it becomes enforcement. So that becomes where Aurora Police has to enforce speeding on arterials. Yep.
And the second one, whenever there's something going on in Alameda, and right there between the cow, that Kalispell turns into Kentucky, and people go to that light there on Kalispell and Alameda, and if there's anything going on, then my apartment complex becomes this interstate interface. People racing through the parking lot to get around the back, out the front, back onto Alameda, and sometimes it's dangerous and stuff. Can you guys work with the apartment complex to stop that?
Not as much as you would think, because that's private property, and people have the right to, they don't technically have the right to go on your property. Your property owner has to add, you can add speed cushions on your own property, but because that's not city property, I can't make modifications on it or I don't have deterrents to keep people from doing, cut through, is really what it comes down to, because it's private property, because it's not a city street, right?
Yeah, parking lot, it becomes a race.
I think that's where the property owners would need to consider doing speed cushions. Mine has speed cushions for the same reason, where I live. Yeah, because we did become a little bit, oddly enough, a racetrack too.
Or gated, I think.
That's something you could recommend and ask, yeah. Any questions before I talk about the speed cushions you are gonna get this year? Okay, I got those for you guys. So, just to let you know, this is tentative schedule, some things do happen. I don't think it's, unless we have if we do get that monsoon that we all want, it could take a little bit.
I think you had one question.
Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Potomac between Alameda and Mississippi.
yes.
It's 40 miles per hour seems to be the standard.
For Potomac, correct. It can be an arterial in certain parts, so it is a busier road. Are you wondering if they need to take a look at lowering the speed limit? Or is that?
It's posted at 25.
It's posted 25.
Yeah, how did that get to 25?
Everywhere else it has higher speed limit, except between Alameda and Mississippi.
I feel like we have.
Because that's the only residential area that Potomac goes through.
Oh, it's residential. It's considered residential.
40 miles an hour on the Potomac.
So you're saying they're speeding and going really fast on Potomac in that area. I think we've had something take a look at that, but I will look back at it and
We used to
reevaluate.
have police there quite a bit, but
Yeah,
not anymore.
I mean, you have the speed limit, T-Fax sign up on it, but it doesn't seem to make a difference.
They don't work sometimes as well as we'd like them to, especially when people start to get used to it. I will definitely follow up with that and see where we are with that. See if we do have an application for it at this time, or if we have studied it. It sounds, so many roads, it sounds like one that we've looked at. But I will definitely take a look. If you want to give me your information afterwards, I can also follow up with you on the conclusion of it.
We live there, and we drive all the time.
Okay.
And I drive 25 miles an hour, and I
They pass
get the trigger all the time.
That's okay, I do the same thing. It feels good, actually.
Occasionally, they also cross the W09 to go around.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. Oh, there was actually like Potomac and Jewel that happened, and there was an accident. But they did get pulled over by APD. I was reading that report the other day.
Wheeling Park is there with the school on top, so it is wide open. There are not houses on both sides.
Okay,
There is a 1K through 8 school at Wheeling,
yes.
but the park backs up to Potomac.
Yeah.
So there could be kids there a lot.
But there's a 20 mile an hour speed limit on that one.
Yeah.
The people that used to go 40 miles an hour all the time.
We may need to ask for some enforcement assistance as well. So I will definitely revisit that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yep.
Well, just this week, coincidentally, to this conversation. I was out in the yard picking dandelions, and a neighbor walked over and we chatted a few minutes, and he was expressing a lot of concern about cars that park in our neighborhood on the wrong side of the street. And I said, well, that's interesting you're mentioning it, because I walk a lot in the neighborhood. I just go out for walks, and I've noticed that, it's very common actually throughout our neighborhood, and I'm guessing probably throughout the entire city of Aurora, no matter which county it falls in. And so he was expressing concern about not only the fact that so many cars pull into park on the wrong side of the street, but also the recklessness, it seems, with which they do so, like the speed or the disregard for signage in the area. About
It is very unfortunate,
yielding,
yes.
stopping, pausing for speed bumps or pedestrians or whatever. But just kind of the neglect for being aware that they're in a residential area where, people are around on all kinds of different vehicles, including their own feet or in wheelchairs or whatever, but all sorts of different modes of transportation right within the neighborhood. And it irked him just so much. It had been on his mind a lot, I could tell. And sometimes they pull in even like overhang his driveway or that sort of thing, and, on the wrong side of the street yet. And there are a lot of vehicles in our neighborhood, and in fact, a lot of people who live in the neighborhood seem to work on vehicles too, like not only use them for personal use, but in many cases are working on somebody's vehicle, whether it's another member in the household or work they're doing for other people. I don't know, but
We do have a parking enforcement team that they can, or you or them can report to, and then our parking enforcement comes out and evaluates situations, and they can ticket and notify residents. I think it's hard to change habits without maybe consequences sometimes, but that is our opportunity there if you guys are interested. I can either take down the street and send it to the supervisor of our parking enforcement, or so you get follow-up, you can put it into Access Aurora or let your neighbor know, and then if it's hanging over their driveway and stuff, he's very welcome to report it, and then they follow through and come through and evaluate and see if they can ticket the people.
I would just say too that I suspect that a lot of this has to do with so much more delivery driving going on also. That delivery vehicles, whether cars or vans or trucks of various sorts, are frequent in our area and lots of areas. But and oftentimes I think because they're just stopping real briefly, some the delivery, whether it's takeout orders from restaurants or all kinds of different online orders that are just getting dropped off or whatever, there's just a lot more traffic in residential areas than there used to be, I guess. And so I think it also creates more of that parking on the wrong side of the street phenomenon. And I guess, well, that's pretty much it. But I don't, I found this program interesting, the NTCP program, because I don't think it doesn't sound like it really addresses that type of an issue with a device of any sort.
No, this is more for just traffic calming of speeders. There are a lot of different parts to traffic. There's enforcement to traffic, parking there's to traffic, then it's, different types of safety, pedestrian safety, and then traffic calming. I will note that one of the things that I did not feature in this presentation, the city is at the end of completing what's called our safety action plan. We worked with Adams County and with us. We got federal funding through what's called the SS4A grant, and that is a citywide safety plan that will help identify long-term goals and long-term, like, high injury networks, and comes with recommendations for the city to future and plan. Now, parking is probably not one that really comes onto that, but like high injury network, if an area is being marked for being unsafe, we have those out, that we've had the consultants for the last 2 years. I mean, it's a big city. So a long time to evaluate and really refine. That is a larger plan, so the city is always looking to plan for the future for safety. I think when it comes to those smaller items, which is challenging the safety, the neighborhood traffic calming program is one tool the city uses with traffic, just like, you know, EPD has their teams as well that deals with traffic, and they also have PAR, who is your, you know, your local, you know, patrol. Oh, I can't remember the acronym for PAR. I'm looking back at you guys. Thank you. Too many acronyms for the day. That's someone else to work with in your community. So the city has lots of different tiers of things that we can do. I think when it comes to people illegally parking, we got to look at a parking tool, or, you know, APD if it's something more serious, and that goes with PAR. They help with that. But when it comes to more like pedestrians being safe walking, you know, traffic can help with that. Like, we can evaluate and see if there's other things we can do. Lots of different things that we go work with, and that is the great part about doing that job. I hope that helps a little bit, but you're welcome to give me information to send to them.
Connect with me as well. I'll
Yeah.
talk to you after.
Thank you. But we do have a lot of great tools for it, and I appreciate you bringing that up because it is frustrating. Any other questions? And then we're getting to this is the best part of the presentation, really, was talking about your guys' area.
I do. So the grant that you got from Adams County,
No federal grant, but yes. SS4 is a federal grant that we did with Adams County.
so how much of it was focused on Adams County?
All of Adams County and all of the city.
And will we get to see that report?
Yes, it's actually been a public outreach program for the last 2 years. They do have a website, or on the city's website, where that information can be. I think it's a city website or a county website, but it has been with our planning department, an ongoing outreach program. They're at the end where they've just presented to council in TAPS, and I don't know if they've presented to the main, no, not to the main one yet, but we do continue to provide updates, and people have been able to attend and participate in their areas throughout the last 2 years.
That's not true because I live in Adams County. Never even.
I can't promise how they do their outreach, but I mean, in the city of Aurora, there has been a lot of outreach.
No, and about this whole calming project and all this, my neighborhood, which I am in Adams County, was one of the first neighborhoods that got a grant. It was like $300,000. Got all the toys and whistles. Doesn't work. We have brought it up. We've had fatalities. We've had constant speeding. They have put, during that grant, they put basically launching pads.
Is it in the city of Aurora, Adams County?
City of Aurora did it.
Can you tell me the location?
It's on East 30th Avenue. We've had evaluations, and last I heard, it is going to be $500,000 to fix.
When did it occur?
In 1999.
1999, okay.
And it's been an ongoing issue. We've had studies. They put in those so-called calming planters. They put trees and weeds in the middle. You cannot see around. So $500,000. There was no money to fix it.
Do you have traffic circles as well?
We have, well, they call them traffic circles. We have the bumps. We have the flashing lights. The only thing we don't have is the neon LED stop signs. But nobody stops at the stop signs.
Okay.
And we have the potholes. numerous potholes, which the city, no, this was the city that paved it. It took them more time than a usual company. 6 months, like the first snowfall, there were already holes, and that was 2016. Those have not been fixed. They keep getting bigger and more numerous.
I can also check with our streets department and see if you're on this year's repaving program. We can look into this.
I mean, it's just an ongoing, I mean, and it would not have been repaved if they didn't get the money for the RTD orange line. And basically, the whole mess, and now the Peoria Bridge, that was not even fixed before 2016.
Okay.
I mean,
Can we
there's
get some of your information and follow up with you?
I mean, it just, yeah,
Okay.
$500,000 and nobody will fix it.
Okay, we'll definitely do, I need to look more into it. I was not in the city at that time, so I do need to take a look at the history on it. And then coordinate with some other departments. But we definitely can take a look at it. I think we recently talked about 30th Avenue and some of those, we're doing a before and after study in that area. I'm pretty sure it's 30th, but I will check. I got one more question and then I'm going to keep going and then we can have questions at the end.
So I heard that you can call the pothole hotline and that they act pretty quickly. Is that correct or incorrect?
I am not sure about that because I'm not part of the hotline and I'm sorry. I've been at the city for a year, but I have been a traffic engineer for 20 years. But Access Aurora, if you submit it in there, it would be directed to streets to take and address it. So I'm not sure if there's actually a hotline, but that's what I would consider Access Aurora. You can call Access Aurora and you can submit it and then they will take a look and address it in the streets department, which repairs the roads. But I'm not aware of the hotline, but I consider Access Aurora my hotline. I even submit tickets when I'm out there and I see things because different departments do different things. So like if I see street signs covered with trees, I reach out to Parks and Rec because they trim the trees and then they go out and trim the trees. So we're a team. I'm just going to finish up and then we'll ask any more questions at the end. I don't know what time it is, but I feel like we're getting closer. Before we get to this, though, you can keep that up. That's great. Actually, the second one is better. Yeah, we'll go with that one. But just so that you guys know what is going on in your area, this summer we are doing some speed cushions. Virginia Drive between Peoria and Nile are going to get speed cushions this summer. Evanston Way between Archer Circle and Chambers is also getting speed cushions. And then later, fall and winter, and this is all weather pending and just like all construction, it's a little flexible. We have Troy Street and Ursula Way, and then Moline Street near Expo Park. And then two that are waiting for prioritization, so just so that you know, we do have like limited budget every year. Approximately, the average is about $600,000 per year. We have a ranking system as part of the NTCP, so we rank the applications with approximately 32 per year, but there is some that don't make it every year. So right now, some that are awaiting prioritization is Kalispell Way between Alameda and Kentucky near Tollgate Elementary, and then again next to Tollgate Elementary is Kentucky between Kalispell Way and Buckley. So those are some things that are coming in your ward as part of this program. And then just to show you some last numbers, and then we'll go back to questions. I think just some statistics so that you guys understand like how many applications we do get, where they're spread out through the wards. Being Ward 3, you guys could maybe up your applications if you want, but I can also work with you guys on that. It's not a competition, but we typically, have in the last 2 years gotten 73 applications, and about 50% of them meet warrant to move on to the go, and then half are about no-go, and then we have pending decisions like we just mentioned, 6, and in your area it says only 1 is pending, but you actually have 2, so mathematically I think that we're in the wrong spot. We can go to the next slide. Anything? We're back to questions, but I want to just give you that last stats, but I really want to let you guys know there are things going on in your area, but it is really helpful to get information. Ways to reach me is definitely through Access Aurora. They do get all sent to me. Also, you can submit through here, and then we can answer your questions. If we get your contact information, we follow up with you specifically. If I don't, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to look at it. I will still be evaluating that. Yes?
Yes, I'm in Access Aurora right now.
Yes.
And for request, I cannot find where to submit it.
Can you just take a look?
Yeah, I have a lot of reports and all of that.
Do you have to get the app?
Well, I have the app.
Oh, that's the app. Okay. I'm just going to take your phone. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I mean, I could do this afterwards if you
Yeah,
want to
that's all right.
finish.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got a question. So you said for this program that you oversee, there's only $600,000 a year?
Approximately
Is that for 1 year?
per year. So
Per year.
sometimes there's more. Last year, council was able to allocate an extra $500,000 to the program. So we had a little over $1 million, and that helped with our backlog to get through that. But it is never enough, but that's just unfortunately how things go, just like when we budget our household budgets, it's the same challenge. But yeah, we do get about 600, and if you go onto the website, you can sort of see like the pricing of how much like a roundabout costs versus like speed cushions, which a speed cushion can range pending, pricing is between $20,000 to $30,000 a speed cushion. Roundabouts can be $500,000 or more, so it just really depends on what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
It always comes out of money.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking, I think it was just a larger household budget.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody can use more money, right? All of us. All right. So yeah, there is a place, the bottles, I can get you that information on that to call in if you have a bottle in a particular area. Yeah, and I took some notes on that. I'll talk to you too and connect you with how to access that, the parking stuff there, and we'll get that mitigated there. Any questions for me specifically on anything else?
I got a question.
If there is an interest.
How much does the city spend? Like, I know you probably don't know the exact number, but how much did they spend on the drones and the cameras?
That I don't know.
The rough
Specifics.
number?
I mean, I can get the information.
Okay. Is it like in the hundreds of thousands or 10,000?
I'm sure it's more than that.
Could have went towards potholes, huh?
I'll give it to you.
I just have a general statement. I just feel like, Mayor Giuliani, when he was the mayor of New York City, he focused, or they found out that where there were the most cigarette butts on the sidewalk is where they had the highest crime. And I just feel like after being here in Aurora since 1977, I feel like there's been less enforcement, less focus on the little things, which is mushrooming into bigger issues that become like the parking issues on the streets. It's like it's almost out of control. The businesses on South Havana not being held accountable to doing their landscaping, maintaining it. Businesses where somebody's ran into their sign and they haven't in months fixed their sign. It's this decay that's happening here. And like there used to be cops on East Florida dealing with the speeding that's happening there. You don't see people being pulled over for speeding anymore. And they're speeding like maniacs on the right of you, on the left of you. And it's like, wait a minute, that's a bike lane. And I'm just frustrated. I'm really frustrated. I was at a tuxedo ball gown event, and at the table I said I'm from Aurora, and the guy sitting next to me, it was so embarrassing, said, well, when I moved to Aurora, my friend said that when he moved to Denver, my friends told me Aurora is the one city you don't want to move to. And I'm like, dang, here I am at this formal event, and somebody has the gall to say, I'm thinking, yeah, well, you drive around.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things that you said there. I mean, you got to remember, we have more people than we did back in 1977. So we've grown exponentially from that time. I don't think it's lack of enforcement. It's like it's just kind of priorities, right? In a big city, you've got a lot of things going on, and what do you want? I think police to go after first. Is it the parked car, or or the person robbing or having assaulting somebody. Those are the things that we have to do. We got to remember we're a larger city than we were. We've expanded a lot further out. We're asking police to do more. Like in Ward 2, Ward 6, where we're much larger. We don't have any presence there. We don't even have stations there, police. So they have to come from somewhere to go get in those areas. And so my thing is like everything. I mean, we're doing what we can, to get those things mitigated, as fast and as prompt as we can. And I don't think it's lack of people trying to do it, especially the officers not doing the job. I just think it's just prioritizing everything, right? And figuring it out. And then I know they can tell you as well, we have heat maps, correct? And that tells us where the high volumes are. I know the chief has changed the format to hopefully mitigate some of that. Obviously that just implemented a few months back, so we'll hopefully have some more data in a few months to see if that's working. And if not, then we can tweak that to see if it's doing that so that we can make sure that, yep.
So with the district, you said 2 and 6, right? You said district 2 and 6, right?
No, I said Ward 2 and 6.
Ward 2 and 6. Okay, so is the city looking at possibly in the, I guess the fall budget, or whatever, and I don't know if the chief was talking about it, or I don't know if he was putting in the plans or whatnot, of maybe implementing or getting a station put in those areas
that's what we're
next
working
year
on.
and the year after?
Right, correct. I mean, those are things. One of them, also fire, right? We don't even have a fire department out in that area either. So right now we've already got that situated. So we're going to put one fire station out there here in the next year or so that we'll be able to put out there. We're having another one as well. We're also looking to put a substation for police out there as well. So those are all coming, but they're not going to happen today. Obviously, there'll be some years down the road, but like I said, we're trying to figure out, as they grow.
But with that, I know that they're building houses and stuff, building houses or whatnot. I know that they have houses that they use possibly whatever here in Aurora. Why can't the police have a house or something out there as a sub whatever area to help them out there until
the other piece of that is also manpower, right? You have to also hire more people, right? It's not like you can put some people out there, but then you're taking it from there, taking it from here, to there, and then we're still in the same boat. We're still short on those avenues. So, like I said, we'll let the implementation of what these pushing across, but redistricting the areas to kind of get those areas where we know we have hot spots. And I think we're trying to mitigate those as much as possible. And I can tell you from my own, I may not seem to everybody that it's always working. I know some of it's working just because I know I get less calls on some things, and some areas that were really hot spots, I'm not getting as many calls from them. And I know that the areas have been mitigated in a variety of different ways. And so I think things get done. They just may not get done, I think, when people want it done, right? I think we all want it done yesterday. And, the thing is, in reality, it's just the job, right? It's like we can't just stop this to go to that because it's your part. And they know it's personal to everybody, right? It's a priority to me when it happens, right? In your neighborhood, in your house, or your street, it's a priority, right? They should come today and get this done, right? I have the same thing in my neighborhood. It's the same thing, but I don't, I understand having been on the other side here. I know it takes some time, some days, so I have to be kind of amendable and know that they'll get to it. I give them a grace period, and if not, then, I'll bump them a little bit to say, hey, I'm still here, did you forget me? To make sure that, and that's what I'm here to, I think, tell you is lean on me on that. So if there's things that you feel that are not getting mitigated in your part of the community, let me know, right? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be that sounding board for you, that speaker to amplify a little more and say, hey, Joan hasn't had their things taken care of. Tanya still haven't heard back from the AP on this or that or whatever, so that I can be that sounding board and say, hey, we need to expedite this. It's been a week or two. We need to kind of get some resolution to this. So feel free to do that. If you don't have my card, make sure you get it. It has my email. It also has my cell phone number that I have on me all the time. So And I do that deliberately because I want you to call. It's not like I don't want you to call. I'd much rather you call me on my cell than my phone at the office. I'm almost never there. Right? Because it's just one of those things. I'm here for you and I work for you. And that's the thing. I want to make sure you have access. And so know that, that's what I'm here to do, is to help you out, and hopefully we can get these things mitigated. Yeah, to your point, like I said, I think there's a lot of things going on at once, and it's a balancing act, right? It's just one of those things of prioritizing everything, and hopefully we'll get to that point. And, I'm hopeful. I've been in Aurora 35 years. My grandson here. I still think of it that way. I mean, it's just like anything. Could things be better? Sure. Are there some areas that are not? Sure. But I look at it as we have to go forward in a way to look at things differently. I think as a council, I think we on council and previous is what I always say is that looking at it in hindsight is we didn't do a good job of handling the growth, right? We saw the money in that. And as a city, but we didn't think of the infrastructures, right? We didn't think about what would happen if we went way out east. We were just seeing money coming into the coffer and going, hey, we like all this money, but then we weren't thinking of, oh, wait a minute, we need to put a fire station out there. We need to put a police station out there. We need to put a grocery store out there, right? Those are the things that I think we didn't really think about as councils. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around moving forward, is that we have to stop and really think about all those things, including water, right? Which is a big one. We have to think about these things, because if we don't, then we run into the same issue here. And I think you see that in parts of the city where you have Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3. We're all kind of in this place because we saw the shiny objects in Ward 2 and 6. And that's where we pushed all our resource to, in a sense, and we forgot about the original spots.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's why I'm trying to create a balance of budget, so that I'm trying to look into, can we allot so much money for every single ward for economic development, to what you talked about? How do we help each ward so that we're moving all our wards collectively together, so that we're moving simultaneously in an even playing field, instead of letting one drop really low, and then it's costing us buku money just to get it back up that time, this time, and we're imbalanced all the time. And so that's what I'm trying to get through with council, is to figure out how do we do that in a way that's fiscally responsible as well, so that we're not taxing. Yes, thank you.
I want to throw out a word to you, a new word. It's called pack model. And I'm going to give you an example of pack model. Ruben, thank you for your service. Sure. Thank you for the work you do for Aurora. I think Aurora is one of the most beautiful cities to live in America. It's one of the most diverse cities in America to live in. Thank you guys for the work you do and for protecting us and being there for us in very hard situations. And yes, we are far behind in budget and money to spend on situations in Aurora. Thank you to the city workers that work and back up our elected official. So with that, back to Pacwell. Positive Aurora community movement. Okay, we've had some problems in Aurora. I want to invite you guys all to come back to City Council and see what's going on. We're working on stuff, they're working on stuff. Community, I want to thank everybody in the community for taking the time out of your night tonight to come here and engage with your city, this most beautiful city, this most diverse city in Colorado. So every day that there's a city council meeting, every Monday, every 2 weeks, right in front of that sculpture at 5:45, we're going to meet and we're going to talk about PACMO, which is Positive Aurora Community Movement. I want to change when you talk to other people in other metropolitan cities in Colorado and Denver, and I'm sick of hearing about, oh, Aurora, that's no, it's not. That's not true. You guys all live here. It's all a beautiful city, and we should be proud about what